please, you guys, subscribe, hit that like button for me, and share the live. Subscribe to the channel, and let's dive into this because I feel that this will be one of the most interesting topics. And I want all the smoke, man, because what I mean, I'm tired of these scientists you have, but you have this man call himself a theologist teacher. This man actually believed that there was no advanced species that been here. And his argument about a lot of YouTubers, he feel that they're not bringing up the facts that they claims, that they're not bringing up the facts. And that there was nothing that came on this earth. So, I want to just back up these allegations, man, because I'm here. I want all the smoke from this man. From this man Perry Stone. I want all this smoke, man. Because you had in Ezekiel prophesies having an encounter with a will. And Ezekiel seen great works going on in the will. He seen 4 living creatures in the will. And at some point, whenever the will moved, those creatures moved. And wherever the will stood, the creature stood. He waited upon the movement of the will. Now, the mother planes was made to destroy this world of evil and show the wisdom and mighty power of God who came to destroy an old world and set up a new world. So the nature of a new world is righteousness. So the nature of a new world cannot be righteousness as long as unrighteousness is in its midst. See, the same type of plane was used by the original God to put mountains on this planet. You see, Allah God, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praise are due forever, is wiser than any God before him, as the Bible and Holy Quran teach us. He taught me that this plane will be used to raise mountains on this planet Earth. So the mountains will not be put on this earth, but the mountains that will be put on this earth will be very high, it says. He will raise these mountains to a height of 1 mile over the United States of America. Since this reminds us of the prophet prediction of this time of destruction of the old world and a bringing in of a new world. Behold, the Lord makes the earth empty and makes it waste and turn it upside down and scatter abroad the inhabitants thereof. We see Isaiah 24 verse 1. There are plains in various nations, today, but this is the mother of them all. See, they have no clue that if a plane did comes, it can go at a high amplitude, at a rapid speed that their NASA CERN can't stop what's going to come through the solar system. See, the motherships go 40 miles through Earth gravity. It can produce its own power. It gets all its nutrition, all its hydrogen and oxygen. See, the white man, I want to say that he knows that this is not a plane to be played with. You see, planes come out of the mother planes. You see, back in 1930, the Canadians report that they seen the mother plane. See, you had 1947 during the Roswell incident. People actually witnessed seeing the mother plane. And see, this type of plane was used before the making of this world. See, why should God make such a sign of his power to destroy a nation? Because this is the final destruction of that people who have opposed God and his purpose and aim for justice and righteousness. See, the right race is not a people who is made righteous and then to turn to unrighteousness. See, there was made unrighteous by the God who made them, by the false gods. See, Allah God who came in a person, a master Fard Muhammad, to whom praise are due forever, taught me that this plane is capable of reaching a height of 40 miles above the earth. His words could have been a sign meaning 40 years in which the plane will go into action. And that referring actually to 40 miles. Allah God does not speak one word that does not have a meaning. Every word that he speaks has a meaning. The mother plane, according to what the science has been described of it by the devil scientists, is capable of not only staying up for a long period of time, but it also is capable of confusing the scientists. Now, Ezekiel prophesies seeing the mother planes. And those four living creatures represent the black, brown, red, and yellow. See, the red will have an equal part once the red turned to a redeemer. See, the white man don't have a part of the four living creatures. You must know what Ezekiel prophesies seeing the mother will. And see, whenever that will move, those four creatures move. And whenever the will stood, the creature stood. They waited upon the movement of the will. Now, they only saying that are they here to destroy humanity or are they here to save us? You see, they are worried of what's approaching. And NASA and CERN, they can't reject what's coming. Because it's going to come at a rapid speed. It's going to come at a high amplitude. Now, Let's get to this video, what he's saying. Because I want all smoke. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's go.
Telescopes, we would be missing a lot of details that relate to what we call the area of the second heaven. Now, in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, Paul mentions he was caught up into the third heaven, into paradise and saw things that he was not permitted to come back and share with those who were reading his epistles or the people he was ministering to. He actually said it's unlawful for me to utter what I saw, some of the mysteries. But when Satan is alluded to in the book of Isaiah, he says he will ascend into heaven, he will ascend above the stars of God, he will ascend in the sides of the north. And all of that, those verses right there contain early mysteries of the heavens, including 3 levels of heaven. The first is when you get 60 miles, let's say from the surface of the ground, you go 60 miles up. That's the level of the first heaven, which is dominated by mankind, by the birds of the air, etc. Then after you leave the Earth's upper atmosphere and you get beyond that kind of veil covering, that covering that covers the Earth, the firmament that covers the Earth, you come into what's called the second heaven. Second heaven is the cosmic heavens, which include the sun, the moon, the planets, and the stars. In fact, when you look at a Jewish menorah, it has 7 branches, and according to Josephus, those 7 branches represented the 7 original planets that man believed that existed. You know, some of our furthest planets were added.
Look, he says Paul was caught up into the third heaven. He's seen things that he couldn't even possibly explain. Because if Paul saw things that he can explain, then why could he not talk about the comet, the stars, the moon? You know, why couldn't he explain in detail what he actually saw? Let's go.
Many years later, more in contemporary times than they knew existed back in the time, of course, of Moses or whatever. Now, what I'm sharing with you is something very interesting. One of the headlines here says scientists suggest test to see if large object headed toward Earth could be an alien spacecraft. Now, what they're talking about here is they're talking about that NASA discovered an interstellar comet that was moving through the solar system, and they have named this particular comet. I'll find it here in a minute. Well, they using 3 different Atlas telescopes, because they've named it 31/Atlas because of the telescopes that discovered it. And what makes this interesting is it's a very unusual form. It's very long. You can almost describe it as a large cigar, and it's believed to be about 6 miles across. Now,
look, I'm gonna say like this: with technology, you know, with advanced technology, what they have, you know, these advanced species that been on our Earth, you know, their technology they have makes our technology look like child's play. That's why they are able to go into our radar systems, our solar systems. They are able to tap in. And, you know, they can, it's like they can go at a high rapid speed. Let's think about, you guys, that what was going on in Georgia when they saw meteorites just coming. This picture how fast these objects can go at a speed. See, NASA and CERN ain't gonna be able to even you know, eject what is coming, because it's going to come at a high, rapid speed.
That's a very substantial comet. If that or a meteor or comet, whatever they choose to call it, a meteor.
See that? You see, whenever a man fumbling his words, he's not sure what it is. He's saying comet, he's saying meter. Well, they don't know what it is.
Right, because if that were to strike the Earth, it would be the end of mankind in many parts of the Earth. Of course, depending on where it struck, tsunamis would be created. It would be a massive destruction thing. However, according to NASA, now let me say something to you before I talk about NASA. Before I talk about what a couple professors are saying, and I almost think they're doing it jokingly. I'm not sure. They may not be, but. One of the things that I want to say to you up front is you have to be careful, and I'm going to say this just the way I need to say it. You have to be careful with YouTubers, because YouTubers are people that want to create content, but they want to create content to hook you into whatever they're talking about. And a lot of times they're quoting this, they're quoting that, and they give opinions and speculation that may not have a strong basis to it whatsoever. Definitely not a biblical basis, but a lot of opinions, and they say those opinions as though they're facts, and someone else will pick up on that, someone else will copy that, and so before long you have a complete speculation or rumor going that may not have any fact with it whatsoever. So let me say this. First of all, we have looked into the universe. I say we being NASA and these space organizations around the world.
Look, he's telling you that we have looked into the universe. NASA, CERN, they had checked up, you know what I mean, their telescopes, and they had looked into the Earth, right? But I'm saying there's multiple eyewitnesses, you know, including me. I myself seen, you know, these objects. And you know, to say this to you guys, I know what these objects is, the motherships. But he's thinking that since we had NASA, CERN, and basically we had NASA to do assessment. They set up their telescopes and they claiming to tell the world that there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there for you to go out and believe. But I'm saying this. That whenever you got a people that's so furious, whenever you got a people that's worried, well, this should worry NASA. Because America powerful telescopes, I don't care what they have. When you got a mothership that can go at a high speed, and the last thing we heard scientists saying is going at a rapid speed. You know, that should concern NASA. Especially when you got an object going at a rapid speed.
They're high-powered telescopes. we have not found life. They keep talking about life. They talk about aliens. They talk about aliens in other galaxies. But at this point, we have not found any existence of life on these other planets. Now, this, I was reading somewhere that this is traveling about 130,000 miles, maybe a second. I mean, it's just zooming through our galaxy. And if this were something that was a spaceship dealing with reverse gravity, and these UFOs that they claim exist out there were actually legitimate, then they could travel from here to the edge of the universe somehow much faster than this comet is even moving. And I'm going to call it a comet or an asteroid or a meteorite. There, there's different words and different ones mean different.
Again, he's fumbling up his words, going back to comet, going back to a meteorite. If you just don't know, you just don't know. And you know what I mean? He don't believe that there's no other life in here. There have been multiple eyewitnesses seeing and being encountered and seeing the motherships. Only question I want to say to you guys, then what are they here for? Because they definitely not here to think that they're here to save or they're here to destroy. See, the question might, be unanswered. But I've been telling you guys that the mothership been here to destroy this present world. Do you see that explosion that happened over there? What was that? Where the power plants went off. I can't think of what state that was. Maybe we'll come back. See, I'm here to say, you seeing things now like meteorites, coming, coming down in certain states, like Georgia, they had a meteorite. You don't think that for a second that they saying, well, we got a comet. We know a comet can't go at a rapid speed. But he's saying there haven't been no life. They think that there have been no life on this earth. See, this is his saying. That there have been no life on this earth.
Things, but you understand what I'm talking about. It's just a large object headed toward the planet. And we could call it space rock as far as I'm concerned, because it's space rock. But I see people that get caught up. There's channels on television that are totally caught up with aliens. And really and truly, this is what I believe. I believe that the biblical story of Genesis chapter 6 and 4 of the giants that were the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men came to the earth, and according to early fathers and people that had historical understanding of those times, they taught men the mysteries of the universe, the mysteries of time, the mysteries of travel. And we're talking about the pre-flood world before the time of Noah. And so a lot of the things that were mysterious that we look at today and said, how did they build?
So now he's going back to the biblical. Now he believed that there was actually giants that was in the biblical days. This the sign of return of the Anunnaki. This I want to say this. They're not happy. In other words, they're not happy that what they have to come here and do. That, in other words, that should give you a big hint. That should give people a big hint. See what's over there on that other side of that Antarctica. They coming back for it. But they coming to put a fine print on this earth. So you guys, it's just something to be ready. So if you're ready, you don't have to get ready. So like I said, they're actually not here to save. They're very angry. See, this is the return of the Anunnaki.
Build this, how did they do this, how did they know to align that up, would have come from the angels, which later 2 Peter 2 and 4 said they kept not their first state, their first position. And these are called fallen angels that are now bound in chains of darkness, according to the book of Jude, 2 Peter, chapter 2, verse 4. So I do believe a lot.
They're not fallen angels. See, once you understand the force of nature, once you understand God's force of nature, his orbs, his power he has. Yes. There was giants, but there was called the Anunnaki. Let's go.
A lot of knowledge came to ancient people through that. Now, those were not aliens. That's my point. They were fallen angels that came in the form of men. This is all in church history. It's in the history of the Middle East. It's in Samaritan writings. Men that were, 8, 10, 12 feet.
He's so dumb, he wants you to believe that. They're Anunnaki. These creatures was 8, 10 feet tall. But here's my thing, you guys. First he said there was no life. When you go back and watch this whole video, you're going to hear he said there was no life on this earth.
Tall, which were the men of renown, according to Genesis chapter 6, or the giants, the Nephilim, that's the Hebrew word, Rephaim, Nephilim, Zumzamin. There were about 5 different kinds of them, types of them. You have Gog, the king of Bashan, whose bed was 18 feet tall, 4 feet wide. You have Sihon, who was the king on the Moabite side, and Moses actually killed both of these giants back in his day. So what I'm saying is that when you see these channels producing a lot of information about ancient aliens, they weren't aliens. They were fallen angels that came to the earth, and there is a record and a history of them in biblical history and also in secular history. Now, the reason I'm saying that is, I asked the Lord one day, God, is there anybody out there in space? He said, I live here. And so I kind of laughed when I heard that come out of my spirit.
But God and his holy ones, his creatures, his holy ones, he had no clue, man. There was not fallen angels. Like I said, to each his own. But God, when God is coming, he's coming with thousands of his holy ones. You can go into the book of Jude. He will come with thousands amongst thousands of his holy ones. And he comes to the 4 corners of the earth. See, when he comes, he's not coming for no instructions. He's not coming to lay anything out. But he's gonna come with thousands of his holy ones. You can believe I want all this funk with this dude.
So there are angels, there are principalities, powers, and demonic spirits that are a part of the cosmos, but they're on such a higher dimension that it takes the veil from our eyes being removed in order to actually see them. It's probably a good thing that we don't, because the people, if they ever saw them driving in the road, they probably have.
I'm gonna tell you like this. I seen what God revealed to me. I seen the motherships. And out came from the mothership, I got to see a tube. I got to see class of what's came down from the mothership. There are orbs, and this called for wisdom, knowledge, insight. Now I can explain these orbs. The blue orbs is where God will give you wisdom, insight. He give you insight of things of what's to come. This is why I can tell you guys and explain and go in detail and go into facts. This is not a UAP, a drone, or a comet. They say, this is none other than mothership. I'm telling you guys, they've been here from ancient modern time. It's nothing we can do. When they can get into our radar systems, our soul systems, then this is something that you should be concerned. That I feel NASA should be concerned.
Have a car crash or crash a plane, because it would just mess with them completely if they ever saw them. Everybody in the Bible that saw an angel fell down just about. I mean, a fear came upon them. So what I'm trying to say is this, that there are a few professors, and some of these come out of your more academically high-level schools in the northeastern part of the United States, but they're suggesting, and again, some of the people are doing this on social media just to stir things up for the fun of it, that this is a mothership of, led by aliens that is coming by to visit our planet. And there again, NASA says it's just, that's what it is. It's an object, a large object that they have given a name to, that has been spotted on the Atlas telescopes. Now, people are going as far as they can with this, and these are.
Look, y'all, judgment is here. You see the Nile River, the Red Sea. Famine pledges. It's on its way. I hate to be so blunt, because you get so many arrogant people. You have to talk about this. Mankind never seen nothing just yet. See, God, through his power, force, of nature, the people, they haven't seen what's to come.
Conspiracy theories, but they're saying, oh, this is a alien ship. Sometime in November it passes by, and they're going to visit the Earth. It's not going to hit the Earth. NASA says it's not going to hit the Earth. It's going to go, I think, on the other side of the sun and come back around. But there's no chance.
Now, do they really know? Do NASA really know that they're not going to hit the Earth, or they're just making their their suggestions? They don't know what it's capable to do, what it's here, and what it's capable of doing. Because I can tell you That the mothership is here to destroy this present world and set up a new world. Because the nature of a new world is righteousness. And the nature of a new world cannot be righteousness unless we see the unrighteousness is in its midst.
Of it at this point, unless it changes trajectory of striking the earth. So I'm just encouraging you to be careful when you hear people report who want to kind of get on the sensational end without presenting the facts. Always, before you repeat something, try to get as much of the facts about it as you can. I know that there's people that when I tell them that, all you have out there is angels or demons, you don't have actual aliens. If you have some of these things that people have allegedly seen, it can't be a godly thing. It's very weird and kind of demonic, distorted. That's what you have in the spirit world. You have those two things, and they can sometimes manifest to the human eyes. But outside of that, we don't know of any, at least at this point, in this galaxy, of any planet that exists that has a human life on it, or a human type of life on it, or human intelligence on it. It may have gravity, it may have oxygen levels, it may have gases, it may be able to sustain some kind of life. But at this point, there's nothing been found out there. But we do know the Bible says the worlds were framed by the Word of God. So I just want to share this with you, that this is a very interesting subject, but it reminds me of one verse in Luke that says that.
Now, the prophet, Jesus says you will see signs and wonders being displayed in the heaven and earth. You will see signs and wonders being displayed in the heavens and earth. I'd like to say, man, Perry Stone is a false prophet. Just another one. He's a funky. He's a flunky. He's a flocky. Nah. He's a false prophet.
There should be great and fearful signs in the heaven. And we were never able to understand these types of space rocks, asteroids, comets, and all these things until, or what's out in space, until the modern invention of the technology that we have today. And that's what's important for you to know, is these are things that Christ said were going to happen. Signs in the sun and the moon and the stars. All of this is a part of what is taking place. So if you keep up with...
and let me say this too. Paul went up into the third heavens. He saw, but couldn't explain. Now he's saying that all we know from what we know, that there's no life beyond Earth. Supposedly NASA used the telescopes and they looked to see was there any life on Earth. And come to find out there was no life on Earth. But Paul was in the third heavens. He couldn't explain was this comet, stars, moon, sun. He even got to a point that he expressed things, but he couldn't even tell things that he saw. Let's go.
There's a couple of people that are on the internet that are very knowledgeable, that have PhD degrees in astronomy, not astrology.
Look, you don't look. Just because you know me, you are a astronomer. However, you know what I mean. You don't have to have a degree for this stuff. Remember, I want to say, remember, they came to Jesus. They said, what's all this learning? What's all this lesson? You see, Jesus haven't went to no college, university, no kind of institution. But they quick to talk about their letters, their degrees, their PhDs, their DD. And see, the prophet Isaiah says you got to be careful of these doctrines of divinity because DD means dogs. It's talking about these preachers. Like, your Parrot Stone. Preachers that never get enough. He has the appetizer, never get enough. And I say this, they whooping us. And I'm putting myself there. Although I don't belong there, but I'm going there. To all those people that are comfortable, that are in it. See, schools don't make you a preacher. It takes God to make you a preacher.
Yeah, it's a different thing, but astronomy, they're very knowledgeable. They use charts, and that's the kind of folks you want to try to keep up with when it comes to this type of thing, and not just somebody coming on trying to be a content creator, trying to get you to click on clickbait, for them to tell you something. So anyway, keep watching. If you like what we,
Like I said, you guys, I don't follow none of these astrologers. None of them. I follow the Most High. See, when you are connected with the Spirit, this is when you get the Spirit's help. See, man have a tendency to listen to man. See, all your life you wasn't even right, but you follow the wicked ones. Like I said, for more content, please stay subscribed for more updates. Thank you guys for tuning in. We out.